Morning, y'all. We got a few things on the agenda today, and I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do our best to keep us on time. Praise God. Amen, people. Amen. Okay, I'm going to do my best to stay on topic today. I'm going to do my best, good morning, to get through the topics that we got to get through. Now, first and foremost, because we're going to start with the tomfoolery first, okay? We're going to start with the tomfoolery. Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez making an album on a jail phone. Please. Okay? Because when I seen the video of Tory Lanez, first of all, the song was trash. The song was trash. I don't know what he was talking about. Talking about $50 on the Zelle, make her do tricks or whatever he said. It was basura. Like literally the worst thing I ever seen in my life. But what really did me in is when a riot started in the background. When a jail riot, imagine, I said this last night in my video. Imagine you recording a song on a jail phone and you think it's a hit, a bop, because he was into it. He had his little do-rag tied to the side, you know what I'm saying, trying to cover up his bald spots and all that. And he was he was like, I'm about to go up. I'm about to go up. I'm about to go up. And then as soon as he went to go up, it went down. As soon as he went to go up, it went down. Okay? It went down. They started tussling behind him. He was ducking. Buddy said he got low. I'm not going to hold you. He got low real quick. And then what did it for me was the police officers in the background screaming, day room, day room, day room. I wanted to pee my pants because one thing about it, and two things for sure, is that God is always going to block it. God is going to block it every time. Because while he thought he was going to be making his new hit album, after what he did to Megan Thee Stallion in the jail, on the jail phone, because he need the money. That's why he in that jail doing that, because he need the money. And God going to step in every time and take the wheel. And as soon as he thought he was going up, he said, I'm about to go up. I'm about to go up. Started getting into it. And then bop, bop, bop. All you heard in the background was then they started airing that joint up. Let me tell you, God don't like ugly. God don't like ugly. And that's why if you want to make music, don't shoot people. Because they put him in the prison because of what he did to Megan Thee Stallion. Now, she didn't lock him up. She didn't even press charges. But that's why he's in the prison. So now you're trying to make music behind bars because you ain't got no money to put on them books. Because ain't nobody putting money on them books. The money doesn't run dry. It tap out. It run out of money long time. Then put him in that jail and him not have no money. And see, that's what happens when you get too beside yourself. And I'm tired of people saying, I read the comments in the shade room. Y'all know I'm never giving up the shade room. And people was like, why? He already in jail. This is Megan for blah, blah. Why is she still worried about him? Because she filed a lawsuit. That man made an entire music video. Torturing this lady that nobody knew about because the song was trash and he's trash. He made an entire music video of him eating the leg of a horse to harass this woman. So if I was her, I wouldn't let up on him neither. Are y'all serious? I wouldn't let up on him if he was the only person in prison. You gotta be, I would be on his body till the day he was dead. He wouldn't make another. He wouldn't make another if it was me. And I hope she stay on his neck. And that lady who's the blogger who is harassing her, I hope she stay on their neck. Because when she was going through it and people was harassing her and he thought he was making jokes, making music videos about this lady and talking about killing a horse and eating horse legs and doing all kind of weird stuff. Yeah. I hope she don't let him get no rest. I hope she don't never let up. And I hope they don't let up in that jail neither. Somebody said in the comment section, because you know our comments are messy, and somebody was like, I bet you're going to be listening to the album, no? There's going to be no album. He's on lockdown. They locking it down. Don't you get it? Don't you get it? He's on lockdown. What album? There's no album. Y'all didn't see? They started a riot. You know why they started the riot? They started the riot because the music was ass. They started the riot because they heard him rapping and they said, nah, we got to stop this. The people in the jail heard that man rapping and they said, we got to do something about this. Acted immediately. They got straight into the field and started tussling to turn the TV off. They knew it was trash. It was trash. And I think he deserved another year or two in the jail for making us listen to that, for even trying to record that on the jail phone. Sir, go back to your cell. Guard, somebody get the guard. Somebody get the guard. He's loose. And I wanted so bad for that little do-rag to come off his head because I know ain't no hair under there. I know he got half a hairline and the rest is bald because he can't get a hair. I wanted that do-rag to fly off in the middle of that riot so bad. He hung up the phone real quick. He said, like he's and hung up the phone. Oh, gotta go. He was still trying to rap about the riot was happening. When he realized it was going down, he said, gotta get low. Nah, he held on to that do-rag. He said, y'all not gonna catch me slipping on a jail phone. He said, y'all not gonna let this little do-rag. You know what I'm saying? He was ducking and dodging, but that do-rag was on tight. And you know what? I hope it happens every time. I don't know the next time he's going to be able to make another call on the jail phone because I'm sure they in lockdown. And I don't know. You know, I don't think he got a lot of money left in his bank account to keep paying for that jail phone like that. So, and you know they not messing with him. He little. You know he belonged to somebody in there. And guess what? God don't like ugly. God don't like ugly. Okay? And so while he was harassing this lady, making music videos and being weird and taking shots literally and figuratively at that lady, okay, she out here rapping freely. And guess what? Let me tell you something about God's people. Let me tell y'all something about God's people. She didn't even have to press charges on that man. See, when you favored by God, okay? When you one of God's favorite, you ain't even got to do nothing. You ain't got to do nothing but let it work out, okay? I'm telling you, sometimes we be wasting our time trying to get these people, get the lick back. But when God, okay, won't he do it? Because God came in and when God, okay, that's the line. When he says it's done, it's done. So everybody that's defending him, fighting for their life, oh, Tory's not guilty. She set him up. She didn't even have to call the law on him. She never called the law. Praise God. Okay, she never called the law on that man. Never, not once. And look at him. And he gonna work it out every time. Every time. Okay? And then just when he thought that he was about to make music, Jesus, God said, turn the TV off. Get off the jail phone because somebody else need to use it. And don't get back on it. Okay, I'm telling you, Jesus, won't he do it every time? Come on. Listen, okay? I just want y'all to know God is going to intervene every time. And everybody going to blame Megan Thee Stallion. She ain't in that jail with him. She wasn't on the jail phone while he was recording. That don't got nothing to do with her. But God, that's why I don't play. This is why I don't be in no dealings with my enemies. Because God gonna get them every time. God gonna get them every time. Every time. And she gonna be rapping. I think she making an extension to the new album. You know where she gonna make it? In the stew. In the stew. Not on that jail phone. She ain't gonna be on that jail phone trying to be like, when the Zell come up and we rapping up and down. I'm just saying. She gonna be in the stew. But him, that album ain't gonna ever come out. He gonna be on that jail phone trying to record every time. It was tragic. And the thing is that it was so trash. The song was basura. It was literally basura. I don't know what he was trying to accomplish, but it was basura. It was making me mad. He got 10 years. They should have, and they need to make it 15 because he in there trying to make bad music. Okay, they need to give it a few more. They need to add some more years onto that sentence for him coming out with them, with trying to come out with them terrible bars. Okay, that's all I know. And I hope she stay. I hope just for the hell of it, she keep her foot on his neck. For the hell of it. I hope she turn around and find another reason to sue him just because he down bad like that, okay? And let that be a lesson. Let that be a lesson to all, okay? Stop messing with people. You do the crime, you do the time. You do bad things to people. And the thing is, y'all know I could talk about this for days, is that he thought he got away with it. He thought he got not y'all bringing up Morris no chestnut. He thought he got away with it. Okay, he literally was, after the whole thing died out and she was not saying nothing, and he was on there talking about I didn't do nothing to nobody, making all kind of videos doing a tour for no reason because this lady never pressed charges. She told the world she stepped on glass. You decided to come out and make a mockery of her, and now you in the jail. And now you in the jail. Sure. Now you in the jail trying to make songs on a prison phone. Now you in the jail trying to record on the prison line. On the prison main line, okay? Now you better go ahead. He was rapping on the jail phone, Tory Lanez, and a riot broke out while he was on the jail phone trying to make his new album. He was ducking and dodging. But like I said, that do-rag was on real tight. He did not let that do-rag fly off not once. He kept that do-rag on tight because he know what's underneath there. And he couldn't take that level of embarrassment. But like I said, when you chosen by God, you ain't even got to do nothing. You ain't even got to do nothing because God gonna fix it every time. Every time he gonna do it. Every time he's going to do it. And so Megan ain't got to do nothing else no more. God said, you ain't doing nothing on this jail phone. Just say hi and say bye and go sit down somewhere with your do-rag tied to the side and go get out our face. And that's what he did. And the riot broke out. And I'm not going to lie, I was in tears. Because when they started screaming, day room, day room, day room, Daystar in the day room did it for me. Daystar in the day room did it for me. Okay? Daystar in the day room. And that's what'll do it. And that's what's going to do it for me every time. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't argue back and forth with the Tory Lanez advocates because they're not, well, you know what I'm saying? They're not all the way wrapped too tight. So you'll never get me to argue with them. But what I will say is that God is going to do it. And I love that for her. Megan Thee Stallion deserves every bit of it. I hope she's watching that on her private jet in her $10 million mansion rapping. And I hope she used the jail clip in her next song. I hope that she take that video clip and put it in her next song the same way he was making videos eating horse legs and cutting up horse legs that nobody ever knew about until she came out with that documentary. I hope she take that jail call clip. I hope she used that clip and she roll a clip, light it, and turn it up on him. She need to get in the stew immediately and use that snippet as the beginning of the song. Now that's how you clock a mother lover. That's how you do it. I hope she roll a clip up so tight. Ooh wee. I hope she used that little jail call, and I hope she make millions off of it. While he sit, I rolled the clip last night. So if y'all didn't see the video of him on a jail call, let me see. I'll play. I'm messy. And y'all always get me started. This is why I don't be trying to talk to y'all, because y'all make me get real messy. Okay, this is what happened. This is me rolling the clip. Ooh, y'all so messy. Y'all so damn messy. But so am I. Roll a clip.
On the recording.
Now, I'm not going to lie, he got low. That man got low when they started airing that now. He said, a bag of hot garbage is what that was. They got money in them trash it. And they get them in the snatch it. And the snatch it. I want to ratchet. Put a Zell on my thing and she do gymnastics. Please, come on with Simon Says 1, 2, 3 ABC raps. Please. Okay, we don't need no more 1, 2, 3. We don't need that no more. Those days are done. Get off the phone. Get off them people. You wasting the jail phone free minutes. Okay, get off them people phone with them nursery rhyme raps. No, traffic, looking for my chapstick. Not like, come on, sir. You got all that time and that's the best you could do? You got all that time on your hand and that's the best you could do? My hard-earned taxes going to that jail phone and you in there playing with them people. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. That's all I'm saying. And listen, to all the Tory Lanez advocates, y'all send him money because he gonna need it to get on. He got a lot of phone calls. He gonna need a lot of phone calls to make that whole album. So since y'all so worried about him, go ahead and put some money on his books because he gonna need it. Because if any other riot break out and he only got a few dollars left on that little jail pay thing, he ain't gonna be able to make the album. Okay, so y'all don't worry about what we got going on. Y'all go ahead and put some money on his books because y'all see anything could happen. Y'all want that album, anything could happen. A riot could break out in the middle of him recording a song. Money in gymnastics. I hope y'all got his Zell. Go put some money on them books, okay? That's number one. I'm sorry. I had to start with that because that took me out. That right there did it for me yesterday. I'm not going to lie. I was in my room screaming. When I tell you tears was coming down my eyes, I was laughing like I was watching Def Comedy Jam. Okay? Please let it go. He need to let it go like the hairline because the hairline is gone and so is his career. And I don't care how many times y'all want to tell me it's Megan Thee Stallion fault. She ain't do nothing to that man. She tried to save him and he did this to himself. And I really hope that she used that clip, that soundbite. I know she won't because she a good human, but I wish she was as petty as I was because I would use that soundbite in my next song, okay? And that's how we would start off the next rap. I would freestyle right on that and I would make a music video. That's just me. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying this for everybody, but that's just me. Okay, now let's get into the serious business. MSNBC. We need to stop watching MSNBC. NBC and MSNBC needs to get gone. The reason that they're getting rid of all their black talent is because they don't want to have to talk about black issues no more. This is what they mean when they say they want to make America great again. And from what I understand, it's not just her. It's a bunch of black talent that they're actually getting rid of, but they're trying to be low about it. But we need to not participate in watching them or supporting them because the truth of the matter is that it's when they say they want to make America great again, they want to go back to not having to talk about black issues. Remember back in the day, before all of the social media and act like that activism was able to take launch, and before George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, y'all remember how it was so rare that we would hear about black people being killed at the hands of the police. We wouldn't hear about it. It wasn't getting news coverage. It wasn't making headlines. What they used to do is they wouldn't talk about it until they absolutely had to. And then we would be like, oh, well, we never heard of it. There's a slew of other people who were dying at the hands of police prior to George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. It's just the timing that it happened in. And what happened was a lot of these organizations, including Target, including MSNBC, all of them used the lives of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor as like a trend to make waves. Because the thing is that they started doing news coverage on Black Lives Matter protests. They started to follow all that was going on with black people and what they were doing and blah, blah, blah. And that's where they were making their money. And so they followed it because that was what was trendy. And then once you followed that and they saw that black people had our foot on their neck and that the government was also saying like they were in support of it, they did not have a choice but to start hiring and filling these spots on their news channels with black people. Target did the same thing. After George Floyd was murdered, they then came out with all their DEI initiatives and won awards for being one of the top leading organizations doing DEI work in the entire country. Because their home base is in the same place where George Floyd was killed. So it's like they use this to make money and to win people over. And then you turn around and you, as soon as you get the moment to, and this is how you know it's a trend for them, because anybody who truly believes in doing the work, they wouldn't have cut it off now. You wouldn't cut it off now. You would have kept doing it because you truly believe that it makes a difference. But this is what the plan is. And I'm telling y'all now, the news coverage, y'all are going to get all of your black news from social media. I just want to point that out. Yeah, all of the news around black people and what's happening, it is no longer going to be on television. It's not going to be televised because they know that Donald Trump has the ability to control the media. And they don't, because they care more about the bottom line and they want to make money, they are going to stop airing stuff like that because Donald Trump has said we're not doing that no more. And instead of standing 10 toes down and realizing that they could benefit from that, because I guarantee you, if these organizations stood 10 toes down on what they said they were doing, they would still see growth. For example, let me give y'all a team. So for Target, they switched up as soon as they got the opportunity to and said, we're not doing any of these DEI initiatives that we decided to do after George Floyd was killed. And we used him as a ploy to garner support from all these people because black people shop there. They're doing this, like, whatever. They got rid of it. Walmart also got rid of it. They've shown that sales in Target, foot traction in Target has decreased by 10% since they announced that they're getting rid of their DEI initiatives. You know where foot traffic has increased? At Costco. Costco is seeing more foot traction in their stores than Target is seeing. And this is for the first time in years because Target was always up. You know why? Black people were going there. And now, and also black people and people who will actually want to be allies and stop shopping at Target, they're taking their ass to Costco. Costco has become a real, the new household name. Everybody is talking about Costco. Why? Because Target played themselves. And so if Target stood 10 toes down and said, although we know what the president is doing and saying, we're going to continue to push our DEI initiatives, they could have also seen an increase in foot traction. They wouldn't be seeing the decrease in foot traction. But now, because you said that, and this is the problem, blatant racism is always going to win. People's racism is always going to win. You know why? Because they're so racist that at the moment where they see that they don't have to do something that just makes them a good human being, they're ready to cut it. It's that simple. The moment that they see that they don't have to do something anymore because they weren't doing it because they're good people. The truth of the matter is that the DEI initiatives that they came up with in the first place is basic human decency. It's basic human decency. They're not doing black and marginalized groups a favor by having these DEI initiatives. They're not doing, it's simple. Equity versus equality. Equality is everyone gets the same thing. Equity is that ensuring that everyone gets what they need to be successful. So all you were doing was being a basic, decent human. You weren't doing anything extra. And so the fact that you can't even be a decent human being, and at the moment that you feel like it's safe for you to rear your racist head, you jump at that moment, it's always going to, let me tell you something. One thing about racism and racists is that they can't hide it long enough. they're always going to tell on themselves, because at the moment that they're able to be openly racist and the moment that they're able to show us who they really are, they show up. They show up every time without failure. It never fails. So all of these DEI initiatives that they gotten rid of is not helping them. Why? Because you need more diverse people to shop in your stores. You don't just need white folks. This is not the America y'all thought it was, where black people didn't have money. This is not the America you thought it was in the 90s and the 80s, when black people were just fresh off of coming out of being enslaved. Like, this is not that time. So what worked back then with y'all old ass grandpappies and y'all grandmammies, and when they was being racist and they was able to get away with it, what worked back then does not work no more. So you're going to feel the ramifications of it as soon as black people say, and this is exactly why when George Floyd was killed by the police and Breonna Taylor was killed by the police, black people had our foot on their neck. We gave them no choice, and they knew that they were about to lose the diverse dollar. And we really started to divest, and we started protesting. The only difference between them and now is that at that time, we were in COVID. So I think it was easier for people to get out and rally and to march and to do all the things. We need to not lose that momentum. They felt it then, and they knew better. They knew what time it was. They said to themselves, "Oh wow, I see how times is shifting." And I'm never one to give too much credit to white folks, but there's enough decent white folks out here that are willing to stand up as well. So now it's not just black people standing up like it's always been. It is still mostly us, and it will always mostly be us. But not just us, but there's enough decent white folks who are willing to get out in the field and stand there as well and divest from supporting these people. And if enough of the black people and decent white folks who are able to merge together and to organize, if enough of them rally together, we're really screwed. That's how this all started. That's how the DEI stuff started in the first place. They weren't doing it because they're good human beings. That was never the case. It never was because they cared about Black lives. They didn't care about George Floyd. I'm telling you right now, if the media went in favor of the police officers who took George Floyd's life, all of these organizations wouldn't have shifted anything. They would have gotten more racist and more problematic. But because people were inside the house, it was so publicized on social media, and people were able to actually come together and organize and rally from different parts of the country, it shook them up. It shook them up real bad. And they said this could get out of control. This could get out of control. Then they saw the rioting and the looting and all of that, and they were like, oh, we don't want to be on that side of history. We want black people's money. We want them people money. And so because we want their money, and this is trending right now, we see that on social media, it is trending to support black people. It is trending because there's no way that you can deny that what those police officers did to George Floyd and Breonna Taylor was nothing but wrong. You can't deny it now because it's all everyone sees. We're watching it. We watched it play out. There's no way for you to cover it up. There's no way for you to tell it. It wasn't the news anchors. It was people on the street. It was everyday people doing the work of news anchors. Social media folks became the new news. And when they got it out there, they could not take that story and flip it and reverse it like they had done all the other times. Think about the difference between George Floyd's death and Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin's death, all of that whole narrative, everything that took place during that time was fueled by what we saw on the news. We weren't looking at social media the same. This level of social media did not exist when George Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin. There wasn't this level of social media. So we had no choice but to look at the news. The news was leading the story. But when George Floyd was killed by the police and Breonna Taylor, the social media was the one covering it. We were able to see people protesting in different parts of the country, different parts of the world. We were able to see people standing on big business. It felt like community. We were able to forge and merge to become a community through social media versus in the past when we didn't have this level of access to social media, we only could consume what the news told us. So if the news is telling us that there's some discrepancy but about whether or not George Zimmerman was wrong, or this is going to be on YouTube. I'm going to post this on YouTube. Just follow my YouTube. It's in the link in the bio. So if you miss any of the morning coffees with Dwight, I'm going to post them on YouTube. But if you think about it, the news was the one negotiating whether or not George Zimmerman was wrong or Trayvon Martin was wrong. And we all were very clear. There was no question that George Zimmerman was wrong. He initiated and started following that man, that young boy. He wasn't a man, that teenage boy. He called him a danger and a risk for no reason. Trayvon Martin was like, "Why are you following me?" It got crazy, and then he took out a weapon. It was clear, but the only source that we had and what they were able to do was to tell us different stories or to make it seem like there was any sort of justification. And this is when Stand Your Ground became so popular. Even though the cops told George Zimmerman, do not pursue that little boy. Even though the cops told him to stay inside his house and let it go, and that they would respond, we did not have any choice but to listen to what the news was telling us. And this is when they started to, all of a sudden, Stand Your Ground was this big law that was a big deal that everyone knew about, supposedly. Now people are using Stand Your Ground all over the place to talk about how they're defending themselves against black people who are not in actual danger or threat. Because Stand Your Ground only works if somebody actually poses a danger or a threat to you. No, Trayvon Martin didn't pose a danger or a threat to anyone. He was coming from the store. He didn't have no weapons, no nothing. He had on a hood, a bag of Skittles, and a bottle of Arizona. And you know what's so crazy about it is, what came of that, because the news controlled the narrative, was a lot of black people trying to protect their kids by saying, don't wear a hood outside. Because that's what that became the storyline. That became the topic of discussion when that young man, when that shouldn't even be a thing. The conversation around whether or not black kids should wear hoods became the topic of conversation. Why? Because that's what the news fed us. They fed us that this boy was supposedly suspicious because he was walking around with a hood and he had something in his hand. And so black people, and I'm not blaming black people for this, we were trying to stay safe. Black parents were trying to keep their kids safe. And so black parents started to tell kids, and black educators, don't wear that hood. Be careful how you look when you go outside because you pose a threat. Don't put your hand in your pockets. If somebody try to stop you, don't run. When the conversation should have been, this man had no right to do what he did. But it goes to show you how differently it was handled when it was Trayvon Martin and how differently it was handled when it was George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. And it's because of social media. Because we were relying on news outlets to do the thing. And when news outlets realized that they were going to lose funding or lose views because people were relying on social media to get reliable news, they started to switch their agenda. They started to switch to Black Lives Matter. The police killed another black man. This is what you were hearing all of a sudden. Because they didn't want social media to make them a thing of the past. So what did they start doing? They started hiring black folks that look like us because they knew that if we were going to lock in and tune in, we had to hear something logical and that made sense. And it needed to come from somebody that we really believe understood the assignment. You get what I'm saying? So what they did was they hired all these black people. They started talking about Black Lives Matter and George Floyd because they didn't want to lose their money and they didn't want to lose their spot and they didn't want their ratings to go down. And they did that following whatever administration is in office is where they're going to flow. They did that for all these years. And then they realized that Trump, during that time when Trump was president, he was losing traction. People wasn't messing with him because he handled COVID so bad. So they weren't interested in aligning with him. They wanted to align it with where the money was. And they realized that people were going to social media versus going to the news because the news was telling us a bunch of bull. People stopped watching it. I personally, during COVID, did not watch the news at all. At all. People were saying that they weren't watching the news. It was too depressing. So they had to talk about things that made people want to watch. And at the time, black people being killed by the police was trending. And now you have a president who is saying, we're not doing that anymore. And the real victims here are white men. People are being biased against white men. People are making white men feel like they're uncomfortable. People are making white men out to be the problem. There is a moral responsibility that white men have that other people don't have, and it's not fair. And they're not getting the advantage or the leg up. Meanwhile, somebody has to be lying because the data still shows that white men are disproportionately at the top of every food chain. But because all of these organizations are run by white men, guess what they do? They align with the white man in power because they believe that that's what's going to help them. But just like Target, if we stand on big business and we divest and we stop watching and we stop supporting and we speak out against it and make it clear that we as a community need to stop investing our time, our money, our energy into these places, I bet you they're going to feel it. Because while white men may be the most wealthy, while white men sit at the top of the organizations that are worth the most money, at the end of the day, they can't run their organization without diverse dollars. And so if enough black people, all black people, it won't be all black people because we know all skin folk ain't kinfolk. But if all black people and enough decent white people say we're not engaging with this anymore, because we see what's about to happen here. So if all of them white people who was outside or on social media, and this especially goes for white people with a platform who talk about black issues on their platform. That's really who I truly want us to understand that we also need to keep our foot on the necks of white people who are making money or profiting on social media on their platform by talking about black issues. Because if you're reporting on us and reporting on what's going on in the black community and you're gaining traction in the attention of black folks and you're not really doing anything to support the black community, you're part of the problem too. Okay? Because it's a lot of them. I see it come across my timeline because people be reposting and sharing it that know that they're garnering the support of black people on social media by saying the right thing. But what are you doing in real life? Are you boycotting Target? Or are you just coming on here to report about how another black man was unalived by the police? Are you going to Costco to support? Are you buying from black-owned businesses instead of ordering off of Amazon? Like, that's what I need to know from them white folks. So them same white folks that got the platform and made a name out of talking about black issues in the black community, we need to have our foot on their neck as well, because they need to also divest their dollars, their time and attention. And they also need to be using their platform and their privilege, to speak out against it. Because it's unfortunate, but people listen to white folks. They need to be speaking to their own people. White people are listening to white people. And although black people may set the trend, we all know how this goes. Black folks set the trend, and then somebody white says it, and then the white people jump on board, and then they make it seem like it was theirs. It's Christopher Columbus. It's in their blood. I can't go down that rabbit hole, but we know that's how it works. So if that's the case, and you got a platform as a white person, and you're not using it, and you're not actively working and you're not doing what you need to do to make sure that then they're not somebody we should be supporting either. I just want to put that out there. Like, we need to see it. Are you in the field? Are you willing to get in the field and do the work? Are you willing to get in the field with black people? Are you willing to actually do what you know is right? Or are you just going to continue to use your platform to monetize off of black folks? That's the questions we need to be asking to these white content creators who always want to report about black stuff or running to report about black issues before black people do. What are you doing outside of this? Because we don't need you to just talk about our problems. We need you to do something. We need you to do something. We need you to hold your people accountable. We shouldn't have to hold white folks accountable. Our job, though, as black people, though, is to stop supporting these organizations who are clearly telling us to get our black behinds up out their face. Because MSNBC, all of the people that they getting rid of are black. They putting them white people in our faces and saying the news is changing. The news is changing. They want you to know that we're shifting back to what America being great. This is what they believe America being great is not talking about black. They don't want to discuss that. It's too stressful for them. We don't want to. I know we've all met a white person who has said, I remember, I'm going to share a story from when George Floyd was killed at my organization. So at the time I had a white CEO. He was a white man. And when George Floyd was killed by the police, I was a school leader and we got on a call and I remember him asking, it was a group of us that were black and he was asking us, we said the organization is not doing enough. Like, you see the riots that are happening, you see what's going on. Like, our organization is not responding and we serve black communities. And so he said, his response was, I was away he was far in Jersey because this is during COVID. He said, I'm at my mother-in-law's house, at our beach house, and I don't really have access to the news. So I hadn't seen what was going on to make a statement about it. My response to him, to the white man, was, that's your privilege. Because whether I'm in the middle of nowhere, whether I'm in my house, whether I'm on the moon, whether I'm in the stars, when black people are killed or something happens to black people, I don't have the privilege of not knowing what's going on. Right? I don't have the privilege to tune out. I don't have the privilege to say I've been so unplugged from the world because it's a part of who we are. It shows up somewhere in our life. Somewhere, someone's going to tell us. Someone is going to share it with us. So you turned your TV off and you were on social media. You didn't see it. That tells me a lot about you as a person. And white folks will often say, I had to stop listening to that stuff because it's depressing, or we need to stop talking about this because this is just so sad. Because it's so hard for you to engage in conversations about black people being unalived. Imagine how hard it is to be black, to engage, to hear about it, and have to do something about it. I want you to imagine that. I want you to imagine that. Imagine having to live it every single day. And this is why white people don't want to talk about this on the news. This is why they want to get rid of the black anchors and black talent, because they want to absolve themselves of any guilt. White people tend to do this. And even the white ally, when somebody claims to be an ally, the minute you say white people have done bad in this country, they've caused more, they're responsible for most of the killing, blah, blah. The first thing you hear them say is, not all white people. That's the same thing as where you hear somebody saying that men are a problem, and a man will come out and say, I'm a good man. I'm one of the good ones. It's the same concept. And it's a privilege. It's a privilege. And they'll do it every time. And this is why we have to keep our foot on their necks, because things like this, if we allow them to get away with things like this, we will absolutely not hear any more news about black people. The news won't represent us. They won't be putting any of their money into black communities. This removing, as we continue to see an influx or an uprising. Oh no. I'm not sure why I'm lagging. Can y'all hear me now? Is it clear? Okay. as we continue to see an uprising or an influx of people using this, oh, I'm aligning with the government, you're going to, that is code word for we are going to be outwardly racist now. When they say they're aligning with the new administration, they're letting you know that they plan to be outwardly racist, and they don't care because they feel like they've been given the green light to do so. That is what is being told to us. And I want people to understand that language is coded. All of this language is coded. You get what I'm saying? And they're not being secretive about it. Why do you think Elon Musk did what he did during the inauguration? They're not hiding it anymore. It's not, they want people to know that they're at a point where they're tired of pretending with black people. I'm tired of pretending with y'all marginalized groups that y'all have, that we care about what y'all think and that we care about y'all feelings. At the end of the day, they care about the dollar, and they want white people to stay rich, especially white men, and they want cheap and free labor. They want cheap and free labor. If it were up to them, we would go back to slavery. Okay? So we need to pay attention to coded language because it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous. And the truth of the matter is that I've said this before and I'll say it a million times. Most marginalized groups are not DEI anything. We're not hired because of DEI. If DEI hiring was a thing, there would be much more black people in leadership roles. There would be much more people of color, whatever it is. The only people that benefited from this DEI hiring, DEI initiative was white women. Okay? And it's in the research. It's in the research. It's in the pudding. $5 million jobs created in the 80s and the 90s. 4 million of them jobs went to white women. Okay. That's affirmative action did great for white women. It did numbers, and any white woman who would stand in front of you and say otherwise is a lie. It did great for white women. It didn't do anything else for the rest of the people. Okay? I'm just saying, I don't want, you know what I'm saying? I'm not here to tussle, but it literally was for white. It did wonders for white women. It didn't do anything for the rest of the people. And we know that. We know that because we still had to work twice as hard to get to where we wanted to go. And this is why, and this is where, and I'm going to say it, when Trump was elected the first time, we heard all the rhetoric around how he was misogynistic and the things he did to women and how he spoke about women. It was all put out there. And everybody was talking about it. And the same group of people, white women, who knew this, we all knew it, we heard it, okay. 50% of educated white women, college-educated white women, voted for Donald Trump. 51% voted for Donald Trump the first time. College-educated white women who heard how he spoke about, and it's crazy because they voted for him because they refused to vote for a woman. They heard how he spoke about women. They did all the things, and then the data came out, 51%. And you know what they did? They wanted to do a women's march on Washington. And the Women's March on Washington was not a representation of black women. They then said, well, women need to come together and unite. Women need to come together and unite. Okay. And then they were shocked when a lot of black women decided to sit that one out. Why? Because they didn't cause it. They didn't cause it. They didn't cause it. We heard what he was saying. We heard what he was saying. We knew what he was talking about. We watched it happen. It's the same thing. It's the same song and dance. And of course, they came out in numbers and was like, we voted blue. We voted blue. Until the data comes out, because we can't see who you really voted for. The data comes out, 51% of y'all is lying. Y'all actually didn't care what he said about women. And this is the problem. This is the problem. It is about certain groups staying in power. And when you see And when you see those folks, those white folks who are, oh, I'm with the people, blah, blah, they get behind closed doors and they get racist. And then when it's time, when somebody like Donald Trump takes office and Elon Musk, and they see them doing things like they did at the inauguration, they realize that that's their time to shine. And all hell breaks loose. And everybody who was who was pretending to be on the side of marginalized groups, all of a sudden, that blatant racism starts showing. It shows up. It shows up every time. So, you know what I'm saying? I truly thank you. I wanted to get that out there. I think the best thing that we can do right now, I have to get off in a second because I have therapy. But the best thing we can do is boycott these organizations and to show them that they need us. And also, if we continue to use social media as our way of getting the news, it's going to take away from their dollar. So we should continue to do what we did and do what we need to do and keep our foot on their necks. Whether or not Trump or anyone else or Elon Musk is in that Oval Office, we as black people need to stay together. And for those white folks who want to actually do the right thing, because I don't have time to be calling on all white folks. That's not my job. The white folks who know other white folks and want to do the right thing, it is your job to bring them along and for y'all to also organize and stop supporting the nonsense that is happening at a lot of these organizations while they've used black people to maintain their money and maintain their popularity. No more MSNBC. Is clipped. It's clipped. Y'all not going to fire a black woman out of nowhere overnight and think that we're going to continue to support y'all. It's clipped. We're done. That's what we need to do. I got to go because I got therapy. I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all know I'll be on here every morning with the coffee. Make sure y'all have a good day. Be productive. Do something great in the world. And don't forget, keep your foot on a neck. No target.